Hello and welcome, folks, to our NFC. Oh my gosh, no,
West.
I almost lost it.
NFC West.
Welcome to our NFC West Preseason Breakdown. I am pleased to be joined today by Flash.
What is up, y'all? How y'all doing? Just gonna give you all a little quick rundown on what's going on. Obviously, I'm a little butthurt as a Seahawks fan, with some decisions that had to be made. So it's gonna be a long season as a Seahawks fan. So I mean, obviously, I'm gonna be having some other teams to be rooting for as well throughout the season, as I still continue to support the Seahawks.
Yeah, I was saying. Then you got to cross country. You got to cross two countries in order to get to Munich, Germany. So
I don't.
yeah, you don't, but your favorite team does.
Oh, I'm tripping. I was thinking about something in real life. I'm not going to disclose
Well,
it, but
I mean, technically it is real life, but
well, I mean, in my family, I'm not going to get into details about the Germany thing.
Oh, true. But yeah, so I mean, it's tough going for you. But by all means, let's go ahead and
all right, fine.
dive right into it with the first team. Okay, that's not the first team up on the list, but since that picture popped up first,
Let's go. Let's go with the Cardinals.
So yeah, Cardinals. Kyler Murray and all these guys. Really, Kyler Murray for a second wasn't even sure he was going to come back for a little while.
I've been hearing that was like debunked and stuff. I don't know exactly what was going on in the insides of Arizona Cardinals. I mean, it's still a mystery to be solved. I heard some fake news on that it never even happened or there was some sort of drama. I don't know. I mean, we shall see. Later on.
We shall. I mean, it's interesting. So, like last year, they finished in second in the division. They finished 11-6. They added Hollywood Brown and Josh Jackson. They lost Javon Hagan, which really wasn't that big of a loss. So, I mean, they're still sitting pretty in a nice spot, honestly. So, I mean, I think the addition of Hollywood Brown and a former, not a former, but a familiar face for Kyler Murray kind of helps him out. And then, of course, the key games include against the Chiefs. You got a road date against the Raiders. You got a game against the Eagles, who everybody's buying hype on this year. And then you got a date with the Chargers and the Patriots. So the good thing is you get most of those teams at home, but you got to go to Las Vegas to play the Raiders.
I mean, I wouldn't be too concerned about the Cardinals going to Las Vegas. I mean, assuming Cardinals have a good fan base, I'm pretty sure a lot of them will travel to Las Vegas for that game. So it won't be too much of an away game in some aspects, I feel like. But I know Hollywood Brown has been a little bit of suspect in which why the Raiders have traded him in terms of his drops and stuff. That's something we are going to have to keep an eye on this season. Another
honestly, wait, go ahead and finish what you were going to say.
Go on.
I was going to say, honestly, I felt like, I think Hollywood Brown probably felt like he could do better. I feel like, and I know that that's terrible of me to say that about Lamar Jackson, but I feel like he feels like he could probably be more utilized in the Cardinals offense. Seeing as though, like, Kyler Murray loves to sling the ball. Lamar, his first and primary read most of the time is Mark Andrews. And we can all tell.
I agree with that.
Based off the yardage and off the numbers that Mark Andrews manages to put up in fantasy and just the stats in general. Like it's a known fact.
Listen, I mean, sometimes confidence have an issue when a player tends to drop passes and stuff. It's a big deal. So maybe the change in scenery is what the man needed all along. We shall see. I mean, it's too soon. Another question I have to ask to the Arizona Cardinals is about DeAndre Hopkins. What is going on? Because I heard he's in some sort of case or something. Elaborate on. Want to speak on that, Mr. Peeps?
Oh, I didn't even know about the case. What is the case?
Yeah, there's some case with DeAndre Hopkins that he might miss some games or he was hurt or something. I'm gonna look it up.
No, he was hurt. I'm trying to figure out Oh yeah, he is suspended. That's right. Oh my gosh, yeah. Players have the most to gain during Hopkins' suspension. I remember because that was like a PEDs type of thing. He got suspended for that. They hit him with that.
I mean, to be honest, like for a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, you would not expect that kind of guy to be suspended for like PED and stuff. But looks like he's gonna be suspended for a while.
Hey, look, honestly, like the minute most of these guys end up putting up like legendary career stat numbers, and for one game they get drug tested for a whole week, and it's supposed to be random. But I mean, so I mean, I feel like he got caught in a wrong spot at a wrong time and stuff. So I mean, I think once he comes back, it's really just more time for him to get his body right, and depending on when he comes back, it's more beneficial to the Cardinals because the Cardinals can just manage. They can manage.
Yeah, I mean that's why they brought in Hollywood Brown because of this suspension.
Exactly. And now think about it like this: you have Andy Isabella, you got Hollywood Brown, and then
You
you
still
have
got Zach Ertz. You
you have
gotta remember that
you
they
go give
re-signed him.
an extension to Zach Ertz. You still have Rondale Moore. You have Chase Edmonds. So it's like when he comes back, like that's another added weapon that's been an influence in the locker room to these younger weapons. So it could
I
be
mean, it's only 6 games. That's the good news. It's only
yeah,
6 games.
exactly. So
So
he
I
can play for a
mean,
very vital time. So I mean, I think that kind of answers this question here of how good will the offense be in 2022.
well, I would still expect a very explosive offense when you have guys
Oh, yeah.
like AJ Green and Zach Ertz and those kind of dudes. And assuming if Hollywood Brown does get his confidence and mojo going again, I think he could pop off as well. I mean, and you said Kyler Murray likes to sling the ball a little deep, and you know what? I think Hollywood Brown does thrive in that kind of position as well.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I
So,
think that
um, question mark is on the running back situation. I'm still curious. I might be out of it, but
you still got James Conner, you still got Chase Edmonds, you got Rondale Moore. You have a trio of running backs.
it's pretty solid then.
James Conner's more so the power though, but Rondale Moore is the Swiss Army knife that you can spread out at wide receiver. Chase Edmonds is that speedy back out of the backfield.
Okay, so I mean they do have running backs, and I'm
Oh,
and I'm pretty sure the Cardinals have a solid O line to help protect Kyler Murray. I think
that needs to get better, honestly,
it
because
does need to be better.
his playoff game against the Rams. Oh
It
my
was not
god,
good. That
that
was
was
that was terrible.
that was a hot mess. That was brutal for him. I felt
And
bad for him.
and they didn't do anything to address that.
I'm gonna hope that they did, but I'm
I
sure
hope so
fans
too.
will let us know in the comment section that there was nothing really done to.
Yeah, that's what I'm smelling as well. I mean, especially when you have like a super undersized quarterback like Kyler Murray at 5'8", as athletic he is, you gotta protect your guy. And
Oh
and
yeah.
listen, like you can have all the weapons and stuff and whatnot, but if you do not have a line, it's gonna be bad. And I could tell you, me and Jordan can tell you that from experience with a high school football team, straight up.
Yeah.
We had hella weapons, and we didn't have a good O line, and you know what? We lost some games for it, and same could be translated for the Arizona Cardinals.
Facts. And that's why I think it is vital for Kyler to be elite this year. But he's only going to go as far as his offensive line will allow him to go. He can't be
And,
back running for his life.
and as well on how far his body can handle as well, because he
Oh
does
yeah.
have some injuries on him as well. I mean, you don't want to waste a talent like Kyler Murray like that. You just can't.
And he is going to be the one that's going to miss DeAndre Hopkins the most. I think in
I
those
agree.
weeks, he's going to be praying that those first 6 weeks fly by. After that, though, I think he will be fine, and I think he'll be able to bounce back in a big way.
Well, look at it this way. The NFC West is definitely a lot weaker than it has been in past years. I will give it that. I still think the Cardinals might be number 2.
It's top heavy. It's top heavy.
Well, no, it's LA Rams number 1 right now, and then it's 49ers and Cardinals that is very interchangeable, I feel like.
Yeah, and see that is what I'm gonna talk about that when we get to the 49ers. But yeah, I agree. And that speaking of the 49ers, that's actually where we are headed next.
If the
So
picture pulls up 40. Okay, 49ers. I'll let you start off on this one. You have a little bit more knowledge on the 49ers than I do at the moment.
So yeah, they added Ray McLeod, Jason Verrett, who's a pretty deep. Actually, they re-signed Jason Verrett. That was a pretty nice deal. I know they lost Marquise Goodwin and they lost DJ Reed because DJ Reed is now in New York. He's a Jet. Key games this year include the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Saints, the Bucks, all of those at home, and then they get the Raiders as well on the road. So it's shapes up. The home slate is brutal.
Oh, it's very brutal. When you have versus Chiefs, versus Chargers, versus Saints, Bucks, that's mess. I mean, let's start off like the Chiefs and listen. Any team from the AFC West is going to be trouble. Let's get that out of the way. There is going to be a trouble if they're on their schedule. Let's make that clear. Whether Chargers or the Raiders miss the playoffs or something, they're still going to be good teams. And Saints and Bucks are also going to be top 2 teams in the NFC South, guaranteed this upcoming season.
The only thing I can say about this is out of those 2 games between the Saints and the Bucks, those are potential playoff matchups.
I agree.
So
potential.
The 49ers will get a good look. And honestly, I say this, like I said it last year, this is the division that could probably get 3 teams into the playoffs. So
I mean, it's going to be like that again this year for sure. Yeah. I think. Assuming, I think that's more like on Arizona's side issue than a 49ers thing. I personally think so. Because I think 49ers, I mean, it's more or less the same team. What's his name? The guy that plays wide receiver. Deebo Samuels. Has that question been answered yet, Jordan JPeeps?
Say again?
Has Deebo Samuel questions been answered? Because I know there was like a whole holdout and stuff and all that drama. I just want to
haven't heard anything more of as far as his holdout, but I do know I have heard for a fact that he does not want to be a Swiss Army knife type of player where he's got to play running back, wide receiver, do punts and kickoffs and all that jazz.
Oh, that's very dangerous. I mean, I don't blame him for that.
And honestly, I think that's why they brought in Ray McLeod, and I think because Ray McLeod can return punts, he can return kicks, so. And then also, too, he can line up at running back and be a Swiss Army knife. So
he can be. But
will he be? Is the thing.
That's another question because I mean they could put him wide receiver, they could put him at running back at the position he played in high school. But the thing is Ray McLeod up to play running back? That's another question that might be answered. But I think right now is guaranteed is him returning kicks and punts, which is very dangerous. And I think Deebo Samuel did not want to be a part of that anymore.
Because he knows that he knows his value and he knows his worth, and he wants to play strictly wide receiver.
And of course, go on.
I was saying he knows he's more beneficial to the team that way.
I agree with that, and I think Ray could thrive in kickoffs and punts as well. While a guy like Deebo, who is like very valuable to the 49ers, is going to play the role that he's expected to play, have good showings and stuff. I think Deebo might end up playing a little bit more running back, though. I feel like from my gut, unless they decide to use Ray as jack of all trades, but it's too soon.
True.
And guys, you gotta remember, Ray still has a lot of potential that has to be unlocked. He's still a young guy. You have to.
True.
And in terms of NFL age, he's about 24 years old, a year above me. I know that much.
And that brings up this discussion.
Jimmy G or Trey Lance. You know, I have a funny feeling this might be it for Jimmy G this season.
Hey, John Lynch said he's sticking with him. Not getting rid of him.
No, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying this is like the final season for Jimmy G. I feel like if Jimmy G like has a bad streak of games, he's gonna get benched.
Oh yeah,
exactly. And the thing is, Jimmy G is actually under pressure now with all that.
Most definitely, it's
the threat's real.
It's people this is where his teammates come to defend him, because now they say why are you going after him? He's done more than most QBs. He's done good enough.
I'll put Jimmy G over Ryan Tannehill. I would definitely put him over him. I would say
I would take him over Sam Darnold.
That's a fair assumption too.
Yeah,
but Sam Darnold is not starting anywhere, right? At the moment.
No, he is. He's coming back to Carolina.
I'm hearing other things about that. I mean, who knows?
Well, I mean, they also have oh my gosh, what is that boy's name? Oh my god, he played at Ole Miss. Not Jordan Teamu.
This past year, Ole Miss.
This past year. Oh my
Matt
god.
Corral?
Yeah, Matt Corral. Yeah, they have Matt Corral. So I mean,
the Niners?
No, not the Niners. I'm about Carolina.
Carolina. Okay, that's true.
We'll see. Now, as far as this goes, I think if Jimmy G doesn't produce right away, Trey Lance is going to come in at some point. But you're going to see a fair amount of both, I think, in the preseason.
Definitely.
You're going to probably see more of Trey Lance in the preseason, though, because he needs the work. But
I could see that.
I think your week 1 starter for now is Jimmy G.
I agree.
So that's who I'd roll with for now. I can't say what'll happen in December, but for now.
For now, yeah. I guess we should probably return to this like mid-season for sure in a podcast.
Oh yeah, and then this is the one as well too, because this is going to weigh heavily on their success as well. The expectation for Trey Sermon, because he had injury last year.
Trey Sermon, listen, you know what? I don't know a whole lot about this. I think the 49ers are in a great place from last year. They didn't lose too much help. So, I mean, I think obviously the expectation is going to be very high for the 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
As a team as a whole, so I would put the expectation on Trey Sermon very high as well.
I mean, I'm expecting him to bounce back in a big way. I feel like he didn't get the full feel of his rookie year. So I would expect year 2 to be better for him. And I think, again, him being healthy is going to determine a lot of what they do offensively. It's going to determine how they use Deebo Samuel, how they use Ray McCloud, how they use their other offensive weapons like George Kittle and stuff. They need him healthy. They need him because that's the difference between them and the Cardinals. Look, they went 10-7 last year. If Trey Sermon is healthy the whole year, do they still go 10-7? Or are they much more of a closer threat to the 12-5 LA Rams, who they met up with in the NFC Championship and could have beaten?
Yes, I agree.
So I mean, that's my take of that. And I think we kind of already believe that this could be a wild card team.
This could be a wild card team. I mean, you could say the same thing for the Cardinals as well. I mean,
most definitely. But since we mentioned the LA Rams, let's go ahead and swing on over there to the Super Bowl champion LA Rams. So last year, as you know, they went 12-5. Key games this season, they get the Buffalo Bills on opening night on Thursday. They have a trip to Tampa scheduled, which would be an interesting NFC round rematch. They have a game against the Saints, which I think, James,
at the Superdome, that's
a big deal.
That is a big deal. That is going to be a very loud environment.
Yeah, I want to see how James handles that. The Saints defense. I mean, no, the Rams
defense. Well, listen, go on. I'll make my point about the Rams defense a little later on.
But yeah, I want to see how James handles this Rams defense, even though they've lost Von Miller. But at the same time, too, I want to see how does the Saints secondary match up with this Rams wide receiving core, because that's going to be a good matchup.
Oh, for sure.
And go ahead.
I mean, listen, I think Cooper Kupp is going to have another great season on his hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless coaches actually do their homework on him. And you know what? And you know what? I think like when it comes to teams like the Saints, I mean, they're definitely going to get their homework on him. So I would not expect like a massive performance, but he's still going to have a good game.
See, here's the thing I have about that, and also too. Well, before I say that, they also have dates with the Chiefs in Kansas City, so hopefully we're in for another shootout, another 50-point shootout there, and then also too they have a date at home against the Chargers as the visitors. But yeah, the whole
it's still a home team. Chargers don't have that much fans, which is sad, but
exactly. So with this, it's going to be. My thing is with Cooper Kupp, how do you guard that? And I say this, he's gotten better and better, I think, as the years have progressed. So
I agree.
I don't really know. I mean, honestly, it's hard to repeat and get back to a Super Bowl, in my opinion. This isn't like basketball and this isn't like hockey. So it's hard to get back to another Super Bowl and let alone win it again. So I think their teams are going to scheme for him, but I know he will adapt his game as well, like he has done since he got into the league.
Yes.
So I think he'll still be okay. I think he's still going to be a menace. He's going to be one of the probably top 5 minimum receivers in the league this year.
Edwards top 10, and that's
Oh yeah,
pushing it.
exactly. I mean, which is
The loss of I'll say this: the loss of Odell is somewhat for question because Odell was doing very well in that Los Angeles Rams, and I thought it was a little bit foolish that he left Los Angeles.
I think the loss of honestly, I think the loss of Von Miller will be greater.
I haven't got to that yet.
Yeah. I mean, well, also too Andrew Whitworth, which is experience in the locker room, but I think Von Miller is a key piece. Von Miller is part of the reason why they
won that Super Bowl.
Exactly, and part of the reason why they walked out of Tampa victorious and got to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, he was that big piece in defense.
Exactly, because what were they doing before he got there? They were
just in the middle of the pack of the NFC West, to be honest.
I mean, I know they were up there, but I mean
they were up there, but like they were like upper middle of the pack. They weren't separated.
See, my thing is
Von Miller.
My thing is, look, when you have Von Miller and oh my god, what is his? He went to Alabama. Oh my God, I forgot his name. It'll come to me. But when you have Von Miller, and when you have, I'm drawing a blank right here. Help me out.
I'm trying to think who you're talking about from Alabama.
Aaron Donald. When you have
Aaron Donald went to Alabama.
Not him, but A'Shawn Robinson. When you have Von Miller, A'Shawn Robinson, and Aaron Donald all on the same D line, that creates a lot of problems.
Oh, definitely.
But
that is definitely the most feared. It still is the most feared D line out there.
Exactly. And now once you take Von Miller out of the picture, and he's a Buffalo Bill now, like it's
less lethal.
I'm not really like. I mean, I'm still worried about that and having to guard that, but now that's one less edge. That's one less rushing to worry about. That's an offensive line.
I'll say that. I'll also think Von Miller. I mean, listen, Von Miller was creating havoc when he was an LA Ram. Like exactly. we saw flashes of old Von Miller back in that one Super Bowl he won MVP in with the Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
We saw flashes of that. So that is also like another thing LA is definitely going to miss. It's definitely less pressure for like a guy like Jameis, but when he has to go up against the Rams. But obviously this is not about Jameis Winston and stuff. That is another topic to be debated for another time.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say though, for the fact though that they lost Von Miller, they added key linebacker Bobby Wagner, and they also added Allen Robinson at wide receiver.
They got Bobby. Bobby Wagner's up there. He's going to eat. I'm saying that right now. Bobby Wagner's going to eat.
You got a triggered Seahawks fan coming in.
I'm not triggered. I'm just listen. You know what? I'm defending Bobby Wagner. He did what he did for the city. I cannot be mad. I mean, Seahawks fans can be mad, but listen. You know what? When the wheels are falling apart and you realize you gotta move on, you gotta move on. I completely understand that. So, I think Bobby Wagner is going to have a Von Miller like season with the LA Rams. I think Von Miller is still going to be missed, but you're going to feel Bobby Wagner's presence because, listen, he was one of the better guys on the Seahawks on that defense, on that lackluster defense they had last year. So,
of course. Yeah, what do you think their biggest weakness is this season?
Wide receivers. I think they lost a step.
Honestly,
I'm not going to say linebackers because, you know, that Bobby Wagner now and stuff. I'm not going to say defense. So I'm going to have to lean towards wide receivers and maybe running backs. I don't know who they have at running back right now.
I mean, they got Cam Akers at running back still. So, I mean, it's
not that much of a weakness.
Exactly, yeah.
The Rams are good overall. So that's why I'm saying it might be wide receivers, even though they have Cooper Kupp. Because they're going to miss Odell.
Yes, and then as well too, Allen Robinson's not Odell Beckham, so that's true too.
Exactly my point right there. So
exactly, yeah. So
I mean, it's a defense you still want to. You should be afraid. But I mean, listen, if you have the right receivers, you could get the job done against the LA Rams, definitely. But you're also gonna need a better O-line too. So. I'll talk more about a team that could definitely take out the Rams next season. And they're very familiar with this opponent because they just played.
Wow. So we're now going to the Seattle Seahawks. I wonder if this is who you're talking about.
No, not the Seahawks. Unfortunately, this is Seahawks is going to be looking at a major rebuild. Where do you want to start about the Seahawks?
Uh, hmm. Let's see.
Key games. Let's start with that.
As I'm getting messages from Ace, have the
What he's
best D-line
saying?
linebacker and cornerback in the league. Yeah. Yeah, no, he's right about that. Best D-line linebackers and cornerbacks in the league. Yeah. He's got
He is right about that. So
Yeah, so for the Seahawks, key games include a very interesting game in Seattle. Russell Wilson comes home as a Bronco,
I
and then
am.
faces off against his old team. You're what? What are you about that game?
I'm not going to expect boos from it. I mean, I think it would be hideous if the Seahawks booed Russell Wilson when he comes back. I mean, it's a fresh team, you know. He didn't go to a division rival. He didn't go to any NFC teams. There's really no reason to boo him, judging situations and stuff, you know.
I mean, honestly, it's gonna here's how I've envisioned it going. I've seen this story before because I think it was 2004. John Lynch got traded, not traded. John Lynch, and I don't know if he was. No, he wasn't traded. John Lynch was let go, and he ended up with the Denver Broncos. The Broncos came here to play the Bucks. John Lynch did not receive one single boo because John Lynch was loved in Tampa, and people thought he would retire here. And I think I'm expecting the same type of reception when Russell Wilson comes home. And honestly, likewise, when it was the same way when Brady went back to New England. Brady wasn't really booed in New England. He was.
I'll say this. I mean, listen. Russell Wilson is a person of color, though. I think there's going to be a few idiots out there that's going to boo him. Unfortunately, for the fact of the matter,
I mean,
there's going to be like 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 dummies out there that'll probably boo him, and everyone's going to look at him stupid. That's what's going to happen.
Honestly, I look at it like this: Russell Wilson gave you the greatest run in Seahawks history because honestly, the Seahawks outside of the Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander years, the Seahawks were nothing. The Seahawks were literally about as bad as the Bucks.
I agree.
Into the league, it was literally the oh my gosh, the Merger Bowl, I believe it was, or the expansion bowl, the year 1976 when they both came into the league, and both teams had not won a game. So I mean, that's probably again that was the golden era of Seattle Seahawks football that we witnessed, and it is now over.
I agree. It's over. The day when Russell Wilson left, it's over. I mean, at this point, you gotta find your starting quarterback and stuff. And you know what? Speaking of quarterbacks, it's between Drew Lock and Geno Smith. You know what? I wasn't actually like. I would rather see Geno Smith start over Drew Lock. I think Geno Smith has actually proven to me to be a somewhat okay quarterback, while Drew Lock has been very suspect. I know it's a very hot take, but I you know what I'm not gonna bash Geno Smith that much.
Honestly, you want to know the truth? I wouldn't be mad at you. I wouldn't be mad if Geno Smith did end up starting. I wouldn't. Exactly. I feel like because he's been there longer, he has a better understanding of the playbook, and I don't care if Drew Lock's old team is up first week 1. That's just one game.
I'm gonna say this. I think Geno Smith has proven enough to be shown like, you know what, he could actually take over and be an okay starting quarterback until Seattle finds the quarterback of the future type of deal, I would say.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I mean, and listen, you know what? He kind of proved me with that with the Steelers game. You know, he was up against T.J. Watt and a very solid Pittsburgh defense, and you know what? He did okay for what it was. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously that last pick definitely angered a lot of us, but you know what? I still rather have Geno Smith start than Drew Lock. I mean, it's not hating on Drew Lock, but a lot of people know the truth about Drew Lock. He really isn't what he is.
So. Fair enough. So now
I feel like it would be very unfair for Geno Smith not to start this season. I just think it's completely unfair.
So now let me ask you this. So as far as the predicted order of finish, so last year it was Rams, Cardinals, 49ers, Seahawks. What order are you going in this year?
Rams number one.
I
Man,
know the second one's hard.
it's tough because you know what? It just depends on who's more healthy between the Cardinals and the 49ers. And then you got Seattle. I can't give you a definitive answer because it just depends on who's more healthy. But you know what? I might have to lean with 49ers than Cardinals because of the DeAndre Hopkins thing. I do think that is a big deal.
Okay. So
But I mean, it's subject to change. You know, I mean, Hollywood Brown could pop off.
yeah, I agree.
But then the Cardinals O line is suspect. But then the 49ers also have a suspect quarterback situation, and they also have answers on who could actually produce and who can't. So I think with my gut right now, I think I could put 49ers at second as of right now until I can see otherwise. But it's subject to change.
That's fair enough. I mean, look, I honestly think that this is the Rams division still. As far as second place goes, honestly, right now I'm going to put the 49ers in second as well. And then I'm going to go with the Cardinals in third because I need to see Kyler Murray actually finish this off.
That's another reason why I put him at third. Is just Kyler Murray needs to complete a whole season, not a half season. The whole Cardinals as a whole need to complete a whole season, not a half season.
And then the loss of DeAndre Hopkins is going to hurt them, but I don't think they're going to be that bad to where they finish in last place in the division. I think that's Seattle's. But I think
Seattle's going to be like a 3-4 win team this upcoming season. Maybe 5 if they're lucky.
I'm going to say 5.
I think 5. I think 5 is if they're lucky. I mean, defense is still suspect. Wide receivers, I mean, listen, it's a little tough on wide receivers with the uncertainty. I mean, they still got DK Metcalf and stuff, but even DK Metcalf tends to shrink up in like big moments and stuff. So that is another concern I do have with them. And Chris Carson, you know what? I feel sorry for the man with having the screws in his neck. I think he's better off retiring and just investing, doing some business investing at that point, because you do not want to see a guy getting hurt, and I personally do not want to see Chris Carson getting hurt. You're better off tanking the season. Well, don't tank all the way. Seattle fans do not deserve a complete last place in the league tanking, but
I feel you.
You know, like be a 5-win team. You know, you'll get a solid position in the draft. You could make some better calls in the draft. I mean, hey, who knows? You might get lucky and you might get what's Bryce Young or one of those guys next year to draft. You never know.
Or you could wait 2 years and get Shador out of Jackson State.
Jackson State. I don't know, man. I mean, we shall see. I mean, you do not know which guys are going to pop off their senior year, and coaches like, oh my God, I like this guy. I like that guy. But you know what? I also trust in Seattle when it comes to drafting players. They have done a really good job with that. I think the more questions they got to ask is more on the offensive coordinator and Pete Carroll. I'm glad they got rid of the defensive coordinator so they could start fresh with that. So I still believe in a bright future of Seattle Seahawks, but that's going to be like 3-4 years down the road,
right?
At minimum.
All right, folks. That's going to do it for us here on this episode. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you.
Actually, I know I'm going on, but it might be even too soon to even if Seattle even wants to get Bryce Young. You never know. There might be a better quarterback that comes out. Because remember this, folks. In college, there was Tua Tagovailoa. He looked like a god at Alabama, and when he went to Miami, he was like
name up Jesus. You chewed his name.
He was suspect. So you can't trust all Alabama quarterbacks after year one.
But all right, folks. That's going to do it for us on this episode. We hope you've enjoyed. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms below on the ticker.
Be a friend, tell a friend, as we say it.
And we have more of these coming out for you. Or actually, wait a minute. As the calendar turns, we actually have more of these coming out for you. This was the first one of all of our NFL preseason breakdown episodes. But as always, take care, stay blessed. We will see you for the next one.